So, as a few of you guys know, I actually made a video about this topic a few hours ago, but my stupid ass, for some reason, didn't have my microphone plugged in, so the audio was just total shit. I mean, you could barely hear what the hell I was saying. So, I apologize for that. So, I'm gonna just start over and try to redo the video. So, I saw a very interesting article today that I found very interesting and very confusing at the same time. Like, I was honestly flabbergasted when I saw the title of the article. And here's what the article is about. And I can't believe it. So, Edge magazine, which is kind of the whole gaming magazine, the professional gaming journalism. As the years go on, it becomes more clear that they're a dying breed, that they're becoming the way of the dinosaur, and that giant meteor that's crashing down are independent content creators on YouTube, such as myself, and bigger people like Quartering and Review Tech and all these other people that you click on their videos, and you get to see what they have to say about certain topics in the world of video games. So I saw this and I'm like, wow, okay. Like, you guys are a dying platform, right? You guys are not doing so well. And Edge magazine, Game Informer magazine, like these magazines, they haven't been doing so well in recent years. They're struggling to stay alive and they're pulling shit like this. So Edge magazine has decided that they don't have enough motivation, that they don't have enough enthusiasm. They're not enthusiastic enough to review Death Stranding because they tried playing the game and they just couldn't get into it. It was too boring and they just can't finish it. Whatever guy that they designated to review Death Stranding, because that's the way it works with these outlets, is that they hire a group of different people, and then one person reviews this game, the other one reviews that game, and they have early access to those games. The review embargo for Death Stranding was just lifted today, and the game itself actually comes out in a week. So the actual early review copies were given out probably a while ago for the professional review critics, and they decided, we're just not going to review the game. Whoever is supposed to review the game, he's not feeling enthusiastic enough to finish reviewing the game, to finish the game and to give it a review. But isn't that what you get paid for? Isn't your whole job to review games, whether you like them or not? I mean, Edge magazine has existed for so many years. How many shitty games has Edge magazine covered over the years? Quite a few, I can imagine. So, no matter what people think of Death Stranding, because the reviews are in, some people think it's the greatest game to ever exist, and it's an easy 10 out of 10. It's the greatest game of all time. Other people are saying, nah, it's okay. So the reviews are kind of lying in the low to mid 80s is what it's at so far. And Edge magazine has decided, well, we're not going to be included there. We're not going to even give a review because they're not enthusiastic enough. Like, what? Like, you guys are a dying platform, struggling to keep the lights on, and you just decide to skip reviewing games. I can't imagine, that's probably one of the luckiest, in my opinion, one of the easiest jobs that you can do, is to play video games for hours and hours and hours on end, and to get paid for writing reviews online about them. And you don't even have to buy the game, because it's a corporate setting, so that they provide the game for you. You're on the clock while you're just playing the game. Sure, maybe you take a few notes, you talk about a few things or whatever you do, but you're essentially getting paid to play video games. I mean, that's pretty much what you're doing. So to just say that I'm just not enthused enough to play the game, well, then maybe you should consider another line of fucking work, because your job is to review these games, and you're essentially refusing to do your job. I mean, I'm amazed that Edge magazine is allowing this schmuck to just say, meh, I don't feel like working. I don't feel like finishing my work that I am paid a good amount of money to actually do. I just don't feel enthused enough. I'm not motivated enough. Can you imagine in any other professional work setting of you, not feeling, I just don't feel like coming to work today, and then the boss asks why? It's like, well, I'm not sick. I don't feel motivated. I don't feel enough enthusiasm to go to work today. You'd get your fucking pink slip in the mail the next fucking day if you did something like that. So I don't know how there is so much leeway with these professional video game journalism outlets when financially things have been very tight lately, and they continue to get tighter and tighter and tighter. Especially magazines like Edge and Game Informer and so on. I mean, they're really the most vulnerable in really going out of business because magazines, especially, are really primitive. I mean, no one really gives a shit about magazines. And I remember when I was a kid, like even 10 years ago, things were just so different. I mean, yeah, you had YouTubers making videos and talking about certain things, but it wasn't like as big as it is now, where you have like these professional studio quality content creators that have essentially formed their own small companies, small businesses out of this, and they're covering these stories, and they're making money, and they're becoming the new media, essentially. I mean, guys like professional guys like Jim Sterling, Quartering, and it's amazing like how, and it's getting even more and more and more towards that direction. Like, because let's face it, I mean, we like to shit on those old media outlets, but how do most of us get our news? One way or another, it's from them. Because you look at people like Review Tech USA, Yang Ye, and all these big YouTubers that talk about certain stories in the world of gaming. What they end up doing is that they tend to cite articles that they found on other websites and just summarize it and offer their own critique, their own addition to it. And, some of them just straight up regurgitate articles and just read it verbatim. But some people, they take the article and they expand, they just, they talk about it for a little bit, and it's mostly just what they think about it, what they think about the current situation. So, like, if it's I remember the controversy with Fallout 76 last year, people were just, based on what Bethesda's doing, they have their own opinions. When it comes to the big breaking stories, though, like the rumors, like what the PlayStation 5 is going to be like, or whatever, a lot of this is broken by these professional media journalists, whether you like them or not. They still have a lot of influence, and they're still very important. But that is starting to shift more and more, I'm noticing. So I remember the story of Apex Legends. That was a big game that just randomly dropped out of nowhere. Who was the first person to break that story, the first outlet? It was not IGN, it wasn't GameSpot. It was actually Jeremy from The Quartering who broke that story exclusively. And he's just some guy, like he started off as just some guy behind a camera talking about how he feels about video games, and now he's actually gaining so much influence in video game journalism and video game media. It's pretty amazing, actually, and it's actually quite impressive. So things are starting to shift more towards that direction. But what are these outlets doing to counteract the growing influence of YouTube independent content creators? It's advocate for censorship, taking off these YouTubers off the internet, like PewDiePie. Why do you think these outlets go after PewDiePie any chance they get? Sure, he doesn't he makes it easy sometimes, like spouting the N-word on a live stream and certain controversial things that he does, but they pounce on that as soon as they can, because that would do wonders for them if these big content creators are picked off one by one, and if platforms like YouTube are more friendly. What is the word that YouTube used? Authoritative news sources. So basically multinational corporate news media is essentially what YouTube means when they mean authoritative news sources. So YouTube is kowtowing to these outlets, and they're not really creating a fair competition because they're biased towards these big corporate outlets. And why? Because YouTube is Google. Google is also a big corporation. So, and just think about it. GameSpot is owned by CBS, which is one of the biggest media outlets in the world. I mean, they have their own political, economic, social interests. So the way that they cover the news is going to be skewed in a certain direction. And it just seems like with these independent creators, it's just more, you have a more authentic experience. You have a more true experience of like, you know, when someone's saying something, like you can feel like, okay, this is actually what they think, and they're not just being told what to actually think. Like these paid journalists that are they probably have some pretty strict guidelines on how they can go about certain things. You guys know what I'm talking about. Especially, I mean, CBS, especially with politics and all that, you know, it's very well structured and well organized, and it feels very robotic and not too authentic, you know? So, I just don't understand how outlets like Edge are just like, we're just going to skip reviewing this game. Like, that's going to improve your financial situation. Like, that's going to make things... that's just not going to make things worse for you. Like, you're not really in a position to do things like that, Edge. I mean, it's one of the biggest games of the year. We're just not going to review it. I just don't feel enthused enough to play it. Like, what the hell world are you guys living in? Like, that this is just, like, totally fine. You know, maybe it's not even just the fact that, you know, these are corporate outlets and that they're just... It ultimately has to do with just poor management if they're making stupid decisions like this, that this game is too boring, I don't feel like playing it. Like, how many downright shit games have these same outlets reviewed, given high scores, right? And that's okay. But Death Stranding, I can't play it because it's so boring. Oh my god. I can't believe that that's actually a thing. I thought, like, if this article... because I mean, I looked at the date of this article. It's not April 1st. I mean, we're in November. It's November 1st. So maybe I have I don't know. Is this some kind of like early April Fool's joke or something? I can't believe that this is an actual thing. Like, I'm honestly flabbergasted that they have the balls to do something like that, and for them to flat out say we're not reviewing the game. The game's too boring. We're not motivated enough to review it. That makes you, like, not just that one reviewer, but the whole company. It makes you look like shit. Like, you're a bunch of jackasses. Like, why should anyone take you guys seriously? When you have people who are much smaller, who, you know, who actually are more passionate and more dedicated than you guys are. So... why should we continue supporting outlets like you when you keep doing shit like this? Like, I mean, man, I don't understand what the logic behind this is. I think anyone can recognize that this is really bad. Like, it really ruins your reputation to just outright refuse to review a game. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this whole thing with Edge magazine and Death Stranding just being too boring for them to review, and they don't have enough enthusiasm to play it. Like enthusiasm ever mattered before with these mainstream outlets. Doesn't make any sense. But anyway, have a good weekend. See you guys later.